माननीय सदस्य श्री सागर खंडरे जी।
Thank you, Chairperson ma'am, for allowing me to speak on the Finance Bill 2026. Firstly, I would like to start out by saying that when the bill was first introduced on February 1st, 2026, the stock market went down. Now, one of the reasons for this happening, among many other reasons, is the increase in STT, which is Securities Transaction Tax, on futures and options. At a time when the country is slowly getting into investing and trading in the stock market, the government has increased the STT, which acts as a deterrent for traders, ma'am. Along with that, I would like to also say that I've received various representations from various organizations for hike in their current salaries and pensions they receive. And I would like to talk about these people, the women of our country that are powering the rural economy. These are the ASHA workers and the Anganwadi workers and helpers. Now, the salary structure of these workers is the central government is supposed to provide 60% and the state government is supposed to provide 40%. However, it is noticed that in most cases, the state government, even after giving its 40%, they again top up and give additional amount to ensure that the workers, they live a peaceful life. So now there's been demand from both the Anganwadi workers and helpers and the ASHA workers to increase the central share. Ma'am, I'll give you an example of my state of Karnataka, where Anganwadi workers and helpers, they get a central share of 2,700 and 1,350 respectively. State share is 1,800 and 900 respectively. But the state government also gives an additional amount of 5,500 and 3,000 respectively for both Anganwadi workers and helpers, which is why the Anganwadi workers and helpers are able to carry on their day-to-day activities. This state government increase also has happened in 2025. However, when you look at the central government, the last time this was revised was in the year 2018, which was almost 8 years back. So it is very important for the central government to also increase a central share of salaries for Anganwadi workers and helpers to ensure that they live a peaceful and happy life. Even when it comes to ASHA workers, ma'am, the central government gives only 2,000 rupees per month. A year back, it was increased to 3,500 rupees, but again, we've received a representation saying that even this 1,500 rupees has not yet been released to the states. And even if they release this 1,500, I would still like to say the central government share overall, that is 3,500 for these ASHA workers, is very less, and this does not allow them to lead a happy and peaceful life, so they should be increased. We should also remember, ma'am, that during Corona times, both our Anganwadi workers, helpers and ASHA workers risk their lives to ensure that the country goes in a peaceful state. Ma'am, when it comes to pensioners, the EPS 95 National Agitation Committee has been protesting and demanding an increase in the pension for almost a decade now. Presently, there are around 81 lakh pensioners, and out of the 81 lakh pensioners, most of the pensioners get only 1,000 to 1,200 rupees per month, which is very less. It is the duty of our country and the government to ensure that the elderly of our country are taken care of in their old age and in their hard times. So it is important for us. Their demand is to increase it to at least 7,500 per month. So I request the central government to increase the pensioners' amount to at least 7,500 per month, ma'am. Another thing, ma'am, one of the biggest issues with the government is that it announces certain tax benefits to the people and then it does a policy reversal in subsequent years. Sure. Now, when you give an example, there were tax exemptions on sovereign gold bonds. Looking at this, many investors also subscribe to these sovereign gold bonds. Now the government says that the exemption is only applicable to investors who will hold them for maturity after 8 years and only to those who have subscribed in the original issuance. Investors who purchase these sovereign gold bonds in the secondary market or opted for early redemption will now be liable for capital gains tax. This policy reversal will greatly affect the middle class, ma'am. My only request is that anytime the central government gives any tax benefits in the subsequent years, say they even want to remove these tax benefits, they should not make it retrospective in nature. If the government does this, if they make it retrospective in nature, it deeply erodes the confidence of investors, it deeply removes the trust of the general public in the government tax benefits. So I request the central government that anytime they bring about policy changes and removing tax benefits, they do not make it retrospective in nature. Thank you.